Shooter Battle Royales have reached their plateau really, haven't they? You drop into a big map and shoot everyone in sight. Then some boring arsehole who's busy deciding what pillow to hump at night and pretend it's his mum just sits in a house or hedgehog game with a sniper rifle and wins. But some geniuses decided to make a platformer Battle Royale, and what a game it is! Not without its faults, but it's one of the most entertaining games I've played this year, and I'm glad it exists. So the game has an aesthetic of a game show. You have 60 players, all who look like Baymax from Big Hero 6 by the way, compete across a few rounds, and after each one the losers are eliminated until you get to a final round where 8 or so players compete for the win. The rounds are randomly selected. There is a decent variety from platform races to games of football. I'd be here all day if I tried to explain them all. Some are obviously better than others, and I think the game is at its best in the platform races, which are basically obstacle courses with loads of players at once. It's funny, chaotic carnage, but they do really test your platforming skills. Tactics do come into play as well. It can be to your advantage to let other players go on ahead and smash into obstacles while you merrily skip by. It is a shame there's a limited number of these. I mean, once you've done them a few times you can pretty much nail it with ease, but obviously other players behaving in different ways makes it different every time. There's also other good platforming centric rounds, like the one where the tiles fall away when you step on them, leading me to try and cut players off, only to realise I have done the exact same thing to myself and end up straight in the slime. Some of the weaker ones that stand out to me are the tail grabbing rounds. There's not really any of the platforming skill required here. You chase after players, nick their tail, and then try not to get it nicked back. The grab control is a bit finicky. I've definitely grabbed people from the front and the game seems to think that counts as me grabbing their tail. Also, it leads to players trying absolute bitch tactics like hiding behind swinging objects. Also, the football round. Sounds like it would be a good one, but the physics are so unpredictable on it. You'll hit the ball in what you think is towards the goal, only for it to weirdly bounce off another player and end up in another dimension. Speaking of physics, it's one of those games that has wonky physics on purpose. It's not as severe as in some other games, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Sometimes it can create funny moments, like getting yourself smacked across the map, giving yourself an unintentional shortcut. Other times, your character starts tripping over seemingly nothing, making you want to wang your controller at the wall. The controls are simple. You only need the move, jump, grab and dive button, though if you want to get really technical, the right stick for the camera too. It just shows what can be done with a simple idea and simple gameplay. You get something that is unique and fun. The grab control can be used in races to hold players up and try to throw them off the ledge, but it's not too effective since you end up lobbing yourself over with them, so I haven't seen people really using it. Though I'm sure once more people realise you can be a dick with it, it'll be a lot more common. The main complaint I have is the variety in the rounds. It isn't quite there yet. I know I said there's a decent selection at launch, but it could do with a bit more. After playing for a couple of hours, you've seen most of them. Obviously it's early days yet, so I'm sure it will grow. The same goes for the customization at the moment. There is a free battle pass in the game, no paid one yet, that has items in it to dress yourself up. And there is a store that rotates each day for you to use in-game currency in. So at the moment you're seeing a lot of similar looking characters. Again though, it's early days. I'm sure once it's been out a while you'll see a lot more variety. It's a fine looking game. The colours are all very nice to look at and the costumes have a nice balance of looking cute and colourful. It runs well too, even with all those characters on screen at once, which is very important in a platformer. If you had frame rate drops and input delay, it would be a very bad time for everyone involved. I have had a few disconnects and rewards and XP not registering, but I'm sure all of that stuff will be ironed out eventually. Would have been nice if there was a local multiplayer mode in this, because it would make for a really good party game. Overall, it's really easy to recommend Fall Guys. It's free anyway on PS Plus, but even so, I would happily pay for it. It costs 16 quid on other platforms, and you will easily get your money's worth in entertainment. It's a right good laugh, which at the moment I think is something we can all appreciate.